What's cracking? It's 4th of July, and in the absence of something recreational to do, I think the next best American thing is to fabricate. Jarvis the Jeep needs some cup holders. I checked Google Images to get some ideas and combined what I liked and came up with this template. I wish I knew how to print this to scale, but I'm not that familiar with the CAD program that I used. But I have all the measurements here, and that's all I need. So the angle right here is to accommodate for the angle of the center console where I am planning to attach this. You can see all my other measurements. It's 4.5 wide. Overall on the top is 4 5/8. Minus the 5/8 on the bottom is going to make the bottom 4 inches, 2.5 tall with a wraparound. Now there are some things that are potentially complicated about this, which is why I've been putting it off. So you see this is my scale measurement here. But there's nothing to it but to do it. So I have also brought some, so here are some cutouts just to give me the angle. So here is for the outside diameter. So I line that up center and get my lines to round the outsides. And then this is the cutout for the inside of the circle for the actual cup holder. And I got some removable cup holders here for like marine stuff. And I got these because I do want to be able to take them out to clean them if there's a spill or something like that. So, and I thought, let me see here. Oh yeah, here we go. These are the ones that I'm going to use. The stainless. They're wider, they're bigger, and they're shallower. As you can see here. So those are the ones I'm actually planning to use. These I ordered first and then changed my mind. So I just put them all in here together. But yeah, these stainless steel ones are the ones that are going to get the nod. So with that said, let's go get the donor metal. The donor is none other than the original driver's side door off of the Jeep. And what I'm planning to use is this piece right here. What I need to make 2 cup holders is a 12 by 14. That should allow me all the pieces I need plus the kerf, allotting for kerf. So I really need like 13.5, and I've got a 1/2 inch to play with. So I've had these plans drawn up for quite some time. I've not attacked the project because there's been certain aspects of it that have been intimidating to me. One of which is getting this bend just right. But now that I've got my first strip cut, this metal is so malleable that I've been way over concerned about it. So what I'm going to do, so I have that 2.25 inch piece right there. To get the bend, I'm going to tack it in some places and then just kind of wrap it around and just tacking it every 1/2 inch or so to get that bend until we get to the straight portion. I have considered trying to do the top, bottom, and this back side with the slant all in one piece, but I think I might be better off doing the top and the bottom and then getting them lined up with this piece in the middle and then cutting that, because that's with the angle is going to be actually longer than 2.25. I found a way to bend it. Got a pretty decent angle right there. Now I need to go a little bit more because it needs to go this way. And then I need to trust my measurement over here, 2 21/64. Okay, for reference, here is my modus operandi. So I use my template to get my round corners, and I still need to do it on this side. I'll go do that real quick. But to get the bends straighter and right where I want them, I'm using this chisel, scoring a line with the chisel on that line, which is getting the bend started, and it's thinning out the metal there. And then from there, I can put it in the vise this way and start to wrap it around the side of the vise. So I can't do lengthwise because I don't have enough depth in the vise, but I can do it this way and get a little over halfway down on each side. Works perfectly. So this line, that's how much I need to cut off. And I did use a square to get a nice straight line there. I'm gonna score that also with the chisel to help guide the cutoff wheel, because it does have a tendency to wander a little bit. So I'll score both of those and get this one cut off and that one bent after I put the other earmarks on this end, because it'll be easier to get there while it's flat this way, and this side's a lot easier to see the marker than the painted side. Okay, now that I've actually marked these, I've realized that a more efficient way to do it is to just cut off around that line and cut these ears off rather than cut here and then do a bunch of grinding. So let's do that. All right, we have reached time to weld. I found, based on the tools I had, the best way to cut this circle out was to chisel it, which I did. Got all the little pieces there. Blue chisel. Got a pretty decent hole. It doesn't quite fit. Couple little spots to hang up, but I think what I'm going to do is weld this up and then take it back to my residence where I have a better set of files and sanders that I can knock this down. But the main reason I needed to cut this out was to have a place to attach the ground or the lead on the welder so that I could actually weld this, because otherwise I'd run out of real estate. So with that, it's time to get this on. I'm going to do what I just learned this term from Robbie Layton from one of his episodes. I'm going to do some derby welding, which is I'm not going to bother getting all the paint off. I'm going to let the welder burn it off, because this isn't particularly, I mean, all it has to hold is a 32-ounce drink at the most. So it doesn't have to be particularly strong. And I'll paint it to make it look nice after the fact. So let's see how we do here. All right, the prototype is done. The spot welds I think look cool. I did have some trouble on this side towards the end, several blowouts top and bottom, but again, that's going to be okay. Got the back side cut off, I believe at the right angle. So let's go do a test fit. Angle seems to be okay. My initial place that I wanted to put it up here is not going to work because it's just not tall enough to the dash. But somewhere down along here, I think will work out just fine. My angle's not perfect, but I think it's close enough. It'll hold a drink. Put it about right there. Shouldn't get in the way of the four-wheel drive. Yeah, so not perfect, but it'll do all right. The passenger side has much more leeway because of the lack of four-wheel drive. I'm planning to put it pretty much about right here. And if this was for the passenger side, see, that's like almost perfect right there. All right, I've been thinking about this for a couple minutes, and what I've decided to do is I am going to put this one right here, which I can put on pretty much right away. Just a little finish work on this. I'm not going to get too hung up on the holes right here, but I will file everything smooth so there's nothing to snag, close, or anything. On this side, if I decide to put one for the driver's side, I think it would go about right here, but the angle is different because this is more straight than this, and that's where I took the initial measurement. So I could almost go like straight up and down if I go right there. So I'll save that one for another time. This will get me through for a little while. Okay, last night I put a little more work into the cup holder. As you can see, I got this to fit. I just had to relieve a couple of areas. I obviously, a flat file wouldn't be ideal for doing that, because you'd only be catching the corners, at least on the ones that I've got. And so I tried first a round sander, a 1-inch round sander in a drill. That wasn't very effective. So then I tried a round file in the drill. That was a little better, but still wasn't removing material fast enough to my liking. And so I eventually went to a Dremel with a grinder rock on it, and that did the trick. It wore the rock down a fair amount, but that allowed me to target the areas that I really needed to, get everything relieved, and obviously you can see that fits, and it's a nice, pretty reasonably tight fit. Now I've come across another dilemma issue. I forgot that under this lip right here is the air duct for the back seat. And so originally I was planning to pretty much just put some bolts or something through this side and obviously tighten them from the other side. That's not going to work with that in the way. So I think what I'm going to try to do is use those same number 6 self-tapping screws, because this is very thin, the plastic's not very thick, and I always plan to use a backer. So I think it'll tap into that backer, and if I go low enough with the screws, like middle instead of top, I think that I can avoid hitting that air duct, and those short screws shouldn't go too far. So that's what I am going to try to do. I'm going to, even though they're self-tapping, I'm still going to pre-drill this and the backer, and then hopefully this sidewall right here, so that I can get everything really lined up. All right, we are installed. That's solid enough to hold a drink. Sitting in here, for me, just sitting in here normally, my leg might just lean against it, but it's certainly not uncomfortable and not something that I could hit on and injure myself. So I think I'm pretty happy with it. I may have possibly drilled into, you see my 3 screws here, I did get them flush. It may have gone into the air duct on the other side, but worst case is that it would just hold the air duct in place. Since they're self-tapping screws, there's not really going to be any additional air escaping through there. So that is another project half done, because I may still want to do one on the other side. I'm undecided, but since I'm usually in this vehicle by myself, that should be sufficient. So now I can get this back together and for the first time this summer, go do some recreating. It's an exciting day. Thanks for watching.